One of the reasons I liked engineering is it's solving problems. And I always felt that was something I'd love to do. I love to solve problems.
I never worked for money. I never worked to be rich. I always worked to make an impact. I just wanted to test myself.
Within 40 years, we could be a spacefaring civilization. The critical breakthrough, technological breakthrough that's necessary for that is to create a truly reusable rocket system.
It's about the work. It's about the challenge. It's about the sense of satisfaction in working on hard problems and in having users who appreciate what you deliver.
Everybody has somebody to teach you. You learn to appreciate the good qualities in every person that you meet, and those tend to help you the rest of your life.
I've enshrined these four words: accountability, credibility, reliability, and trust. I've enshrined them as the core values of TCC.
As a venture capitalist, our responsibility, also our happiness, enjoyment, comes from helping build a company.
This job has to have a commitment, an energy, a passion, a work ethic, furiously, intensely, never stopping that mission.
The world needs to see the real opportunity behind the advancement of renewable energy and climate change mitigation. Climate change is real.
You have to have an environment that allows people to take risks. And you have to be able to learn from when the risks lead to failures, enjoy those, understand those.
That's really the essence of engineering. How do you optimize the resources that you have to get the most out of whatever you are working on?
To me, as an entrepreneur, the more challenges there are, the more opportunities arise. And I've always looked at challenges as opportunities.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Dean of the USC Viterbi School of Engineering, Yanis C. Yortsos.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you here on behalf of the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. I would like to welcome all of you tonight at the 39th edition of the Viterbi Awards. This is an event that has become the finest celebration of engineering and technology in Southern California. Yay! Because we honor the best in the world in engineering and technology. Tonight, we have the privilege to honor three such individuals: Harel Kodesh, Lieutenant General Stacey Harris, and William Wang. But tonight is another special occasion as well, because it marks the 50th anniversary of the Viterbi algorithm. You see, in the era of artificial intelligence, even algorithms celebrate anniversaries. Now, with algorithms, it is more accurate to talk in terms of Moore's law years. Now, I know this is a little technical, but we use Moore's law to essentially measure technology. If you do the math, you will find that the Viterbi algorithm has touched the lives of more than 6 billion people, close to the entire world population. Also, 6 billion happens to be the number of dollars Max has already raised in USC's fundraising campaign. But we will talk about Max's law for fundraising at another topic. Max is my boss, so, he determines my raise. As we commence our program, I'd like to acknowledge some very special friends who are here with us tonight. please stand when I call your name and remain standing so that we can recognize you as a group. And please hold your applause until I have called everyone. We have tonight with us my wife, Cheryl, and my son, Stevie, representing Northrop Grumman. President and First Lady C.L. Max Nikias and Nikki Nikias. John Mork, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and his wife, Julie. I would like now acknowledge the trustees. Please stand as I announce your name and remain standing as we recognize you as a group. Dan Epstein and Andrew Viterbi. Ladies and gentlemen, our trustees. We have with us tonight from our senior administrators, Al Chekio, Senior Vice President for University Advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Chekio. And from the Viterbi School of Engineering, the Board of Counselors, please stand as I announce your name and remain standing so we can recognize you as a group. Terry Adams and his wife, Leslie. Jim Baum, the Chairman of the Board. Al Dorman, Dan Epstein, Harel Kodesh and his wife, Iris. Brian Min and his wife, Julie. John Mork and his wife, Julie. Don Paul. Tom Weiss and his wife, Kim. Andrew Viterbi, and William Wang and his wife, Sakura. Ladies and gentlemen, our Board of Counselors. I would also like to move to also acknowledge a very special group of people that are here with us tonight. The Los Angeles chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen, who are here with us tonight. They are here to celebrate the award for Lieutenant General Stacey Harris. So they are so happy to have them here. I would like to acknowledge also those who are supporting this event in our school, Sempra Energy, Sherman IP, Stubbs, Adelton, and Marquiles, and Visio. Thank you very much. The Viterbi algorithm is a most striking manifestation of what I call engineering plus. Invented ingeniously by Andrew Viterbi for signal processing and communication, it has empowered since its inception a revolution that has touched almost everything we do, from security and sustainability to health and the joy of life. It has spawned unprecedented economic activity in the form of new companies, including Qualcomm, a company co-founded by Andrew. It enabled modern-day communications from GPS to mobile, iPhones, to any smart device that processes signals, text, audio, and video. And it literally has brought the world closer together. And in the process, it has become the fundamental enabler for the creation of millions of new jobs, directly or indirectly tied to it, from technology to digital media and worldwide communication to enriching the quality of life of everyone on the planet. It's also this concept of engineering plus that characterizes all our awardees tonight. Many, including particularly the World Economic Forum, believe that we are now entering a new era, that of the fourth industrial revolution. The invention of the steam engine in the 19th century signaled the replacement of manual labor by machines. Electricity in the early part of the 20th century marked the second industrial revolution, leading in the latter part of the last century to the current era, the third industrial revolution of electronics, computers, communication, and information technology. The fourth industrial revolution in our doorstep today is the time when there will be a convergence of the physical, the chemical, biological, behavioral, and increasingly the social world to be integrated in unprecedented ways for the benefit of humanity. USC is the ideal place to enable this convergence, which for some time now we have coined as engineering plus X, with X being practically any problem or discipline. And we have endeavored to practice it through many USC centers and initiatives. Consider Professor Milind Tambe of computer science, who uses artificial intelligence in social work to solve difficult societal problems, including the spreading of HIV among homeless youth. Professor Maya Matarik, who develops the new field of socially assistive robotics to help the elderly or children with autism. Professor of Electrical Engineering Sri Narayanan partners with the Gina Davis Institute and Google to quantify how women are portrayed in digital media and develop the so-called Inclusion Index. And our Professor Prem Natarajan, the Keston Executive Director of ISI, who uses artificial intelligence to predict events of crucial interest to national security. The list is long, exciting, and exhilarating. In our rapidly changing world, we are positioned to help solve the most pressing problems we're facing in sustainability, security, and health, and in the process to free human activity to solve big societal challenges, to promote the joy of life and the pursuit of happiness in terms of personal and societal growth. Many problems, many challenges will need to be addressed at every step. And we at engineering schools must redouble our efforts to produce students with skills on decision-making that is not only smart, but is also ethical. And this is where the X in engineering plus X represents empathy, character, judgment, and values, both for the individual and the society at large. At USC Viterbi, we aspire to lead this rapidly unfolding future, to help invent it for the collective benefit. And we have a strong advantage. Southern California, with its growing Silicon Beach innovation ecosystem, where silicon is spelled with SC, so it's Skillicon. Skillicon is the new chemical element, ladies and gentlemen. Not only graduates the largest number of engineers and computer scientists than in any region in the United States, with an estimated 175 languages spoken in Los Angeles, it is a most vibrant place for new ideas, new entrepreneurship, and for the best embodiment of engineering plus X for the benefit of our ever closer world. And if you are in Southern California, X may also include surfing. Quantum physicist David Deutsch says, there will always be problems, but all problems are solvable through science and engineering. It is this mindset that characterizes the new engineers, and it's a mindset that we wholeheartedly embrace at the Viterbi School. Thank you very much. Now, while I'm sure you would love to listen to me speak for another 2 hours, I will let a video do this much better and in a much shorter time.
The first ever USC engineering course was offered 112 years ago. A century later, engineering and technology have transformed the world, ushering in tremendous advances that redefine what is possible. This incredible evolution of technology continues to shape the USC Viterbi School of Engineering through what we like to call the 3 C's: convergence, connectedness, and culture. This past year, Dean Yanis C. Yortsos announced the creation of several new centers converging with other disciplines to address problems ranging from homelessness to improving education. The Viterbi School of Engineering is connecting the world around us, providing opportunities to revolutionize the way we interact, teach, research, and manage. The #1 ranked program, DEN at Viterbi, provides technology-enhanced access to the classroom for all our graduate programs, allowing the most talented individuals, wherever they may be, to seamlessly connect with their peers and faculty. We continue to connect our school to a vibrant ecosystem of innovation that we like to call SC Illichon Beach. 2 years ago, USC became the home to a new National Science Foundation Innovation Core node aimed at helping high-tech university spin-offs succeed. Under the direction of Andrea Bells, USC Viterbi has helped raise grants and private investment totaling $1.5 million for approximately 20 teams connected to the node. And on June 15th, Viterbi's very own Game Pipe Laboratory, part of the nationally top-ranked USC Games program, proudly celebrated a full decade of innovation and success in game design. We continually connect our students to their chosen fields, providing them with internship assistance and career counseling that introduces them to leading global companies from aerospace to technology. Our students routinely gain real-world experiences that enhance what they do in the classroom, resulting in acquired knowledge that serves them well for years to come. At USC Viterbi, we have built a culture of success by fostering an environment where everyone can succeed. Through this approach, we serve the entire USC family, from students and faculty to the alumni and corporate world. This year, the fraction of women in our freshman class is 40%, the highest ever in our history. Our academic engineering culture at USC Viterbi is changing, and our amazing female faculty members prove that every day. The MIT Technology Review recently named Kelly Sanders and Nora Ayanian to its prestigious TR35 list as two of the world's leading innovators under the age of 35. Since 2009, 12 USC Viterbi faculty have been singled out for this distinction, matched only by Harvard and MIT in that time span. Dr. Brandy Jones joined USC Viterbi in November to head our diversity and strategic initiatives, which is responsible for leading and directing equity, diversity, and inclusion within the school. We have also established a culture of change as exemplified by the Grand Challenges Scholars Program. As it continues to grow at USC Viterbi, the program attracts uniquely prepared students to help solve the NAE's grand challenges and become the change makers of tomorrow. This year, we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Viterbi algorithm, which revolutionized communications and helped usher in the spectacular technological advances of our times. And in an amazing feat on March 4th, 2017, the USC Viterbi RPL team launched the Fathom 2 rocket. Attaining an altitude of 144,000 feet, Fathom 2 set a new record for the highest altitude achieved worldwide for a rocket entirely designed and manufactured by students. And so, 112 years since our founding, the USC Viterbi School of Engineering continues to build upon its legacy by converging with other disciplines, connecting the world around us, and fostering a culture of diversity and service. We continue to reach unprecedented heights in teaching, research, and innovation. We attract the best and brightest talent from around the globe. We constantly add value to our programs, and as innovation and technology continue to change the world around us, USC Viterbi remains at the forefront of this evolution in engineering.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice Dean for Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship, Professor Andrea Bells.
It is such a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm so excited and honored to be part of this. This is really the culmination of two major journeys that have taken place over the last year. And I have to say that being part of the competitions that underlie our innovation program is a highlight of my career and is so much fun. So yeah, go ahead and clap. Innovation is fun. Because, you know, innovation really stands for what we have learned from Dr. Viterbi and so many of the luminaries here, which is it's about invention with impact. And USC Viterbi has committed itself to becoming the catalyst for innovation and entrepreneurship here in Southern California. Like you, I also did not know that Skillicon was an element until I learned it from our dean. What makes this so possible is the fact that we have so much talent here, and you'll see that the talent that resides here in our school just shows what a great job we're doing both at attracting top talent and generating it. The first competition we'd like to talk about is the Massey Entrepreneurship Prize Competition. It was established in 2010. It's already launched several promising young companies that are here in Southern California. The generous individual behind this competition is Fariborz Massey, who's offered so much vision and support. Let's definitely celebrate Fariborz. Thank you so much. I want to acknowledge all of the entrants who competed in this year's event, and we'll have a chance to learn more about them, the rigorous educational process that they went through, and of course we'll learn about the winning team. I think we'll learn about them now.
Created by Fariborz Massey, the Massey Entrepreneurship Prize competition empowers Viterbi's brightest engineering students to turn their fledgling ideas into successful startups.
We started MEPC because with my resources, I thought this is the most efficient way of accomplishing the goal of fostering innovation.
Each team received a National Science Foundation I-Corps grant. 17 teams were guided by business mentors from our community in a series of workshops, learning how to engage with potential customers and develop business models. They were competing for $25,000 in free legal and marketing services thanks to our sponsors, as well as for the grand prize of $50,000. The competition culminated on March 22nd at the MEPC Finals as the teams gave their final pitches to a panel of judges. Let's meet the winners.
We are Thermal View Monitoring. Our goal is to assist doctors in providing better cancer care and to empower patients and their families.
I'm Mata, co-founder and president.
I'm John, co-founder and CEO.
I'm Pratik, VP of Products. I'm Guanbo, VP of Engineering.
And I'm Sang, VP of Sales and Marketing. Based on 10 years of research and development, our team has created a superior image guidance system for doctors to use during ablation therapy. So, what is cancer ablation?
Cancer ablation is a method of treatment
that allows doctors to treat cancer in place without needing to open the patient up.
Doctors insert a small needle-like probe
into the patient's body and into the tumor.
It uses heat to treat the cancer in place.
The ablation therapies are becoming more and more popular
because it's faster and less invasive.
The problem is the doctors don't have a good way of monitoring.
Doctors use MR, CT, and ultrasound to guide them while they're performing ablation therapies.
MRI, CT, and ultrasound have limitations. They are expensive, inconvenient, and can be inaccurate.
Our solution is Thermal View Monitoring.
The way our technology works is that we form a three-dimensional image of the inside of the human body.
The doctors can see what they're doing during the treatment in 3D.
See all the little connectors here? We connect them to sources of radio frequency waves. The waves go in the patient's body, they interact with what's inside, and by measuring the waves that come back, we form images of the interior of the body.
Thermal View Monitoring provides a 3D temperature map for the doctors so that they can see where they are delivering the heat directly to the tumor without damaging the surrounding tissue.
We plan to launch our product by 2021. Our team brings innovation to tackle the most fundamental problems in our healthcare system, which are cost, quality, and access. And with the help of our MEPC Grand Prize, we are that much closer to making Thermal View Monitoring the cancer ablation guidance system of the future.
So let's just give one more round of applause to that team, the winners of the competition this year, Thermal View Monitoring. It's now my pleasure to announce the winning team behind the successful second year of the Min Family Engineering Social Entrepreneurship Challenge. 2 years ago, Brian and Julie Min said that they wanted to create a competition giving students the ability to make important social contributions through innovation. To make this dream a reality, in October of 2015, the Mins generously endowed and launched the Min Family Engineering Social Entrepreneurship Challenge, which allows competitors to build business teams that do just that. They merge innovation and social missions ranging from health issues in underserved communities to engineering in developing countries. I want to acknowledge and thank Brian and Julie here tonight for their giving spirit, their kindness, and their vision. Like the students who are part of it, they have changed the world, and they're here with their children and their friends tonight. This contest showcased many talented teams, but of course there is only one winner. So let's meet the team's process and meet the winners.
Created by generous benefactors Brian and Julie Min, the Min Family Engineering Social Entrepreneurship Challenge encourages engineering students to address challenges faced by underprivileged parts of our society with exciting innovations and robust businesses.
We hope that it could be transformational to our society. It is going towards the needs of human beings.
This year, 7 teams attended a series of workshops focused on customer discovery, startup formation, and social entrepreneurship. Business mentors graciously helped the teams interview 20 potential customers to help refine their business and social impact models. All teams were supported by National Science Foundation I-Corps grants, and select teams were granted up to $10,000 to conduct implementation research over spring break. All teams benefited from an estimated $25,000 in free legal services thanks to our sponsors. But the winning team was selected at the finals on April 6th and will win $25,000 to pursue its dream. Let's meet the winners.
We are HonestFi. Our mission is to help Americans get out of poverty by providing affordable financial services.
I'm Alfonso, co-founder and VP of Business Development.
I'm Joseph, CTO.
I'm Trevor, product designer.
And I'm Rav, CEO and founder. We're a financial technology company, and we have developed an app to make check cashing convenient and affordable for underbanked Americans. So what does it mean to be underbanked? There's 106 million people underbanked in the US right now.
They range from undocumented immigrants to blue-collar Americans. They live paycheck to paycheck, and they can't afford the fees that are associated with the bank account.
They have limited resources, and they go to check cashing and payday loan services to get their financial needs met.
These check cashing facilities have limitations. They're expensive, inconvenient, and dangerous.
That's why we created HonestFi, a mobile application that provides affordable financial services for everyone, by everyone. Our customers are actually nonprofits and small businesses. We leverage the trusted relationship that the nonprofits have with the underbanked.
The app is really easy for anyone to use out of nonprofit or small business.
The customer brings a check to a nonprofit organization.
An employee at the nonprofit opens the HonestFi application on their device. They log the underbanked customer in and scan their check. Funds from the nonprofit's bank account are pushed to a reloadable card that is already registered to the underbanked customer, and they're ready to go. If they need to pull cash, they can go to an ATM.
We save our customers $10 to $35 a month. That is a lot of money saved in this community.
Our app is ready to go, and we're ready to pilot. We presented this to President Clinton, who helped us acquire our first 3 customers. Thanks to the Min Family Challenge, we're able to fund our pilot and get the legal services we need to strengthen our partnerships out there.
We have partnered up with the Cesar Chavez Foundation. We have also partnered up with the United Farm Workers.
Our team brings expertise in design, business, and technology. Our goal is to scale HonestFi to serve millions of underbanked Americans.
I don't know about you, but I particularly like seeing Fight On with the White House in the White House logo in the background. I don't think I realized how cool our engineers were before these videos. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a round of applause to this year's winners of the Min Family Engineering Social Entrepreneurship Challenge, HonestFi. want to give one more thank you to our competition sponsors. These firms support our teams both with services and with teaching. And Sherman IP, Stubbs, Alderton, and Markleese, and Callbox, thank you for your generosity. And I want to give one more thank you to our generous benefactors who created these activities, Faribault Massey and Brian and Julie Min. Without you, we absolutely could not reach this level of success. And one last congratulations to the winners, these two great teams. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USC Thornton School of Music, soprano Maya Rothfuss and pianist Nan Dong. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Dean Yanis C. Yortsos.
Thank you very much, Maya and Ann. What a wonderful performance. It's beautiful. Tonight, we're extremely honored to have with us USC's 11th President, C.L. Max Nikias. Dr. Nikias' DNA runs deeply into our blood here in our bodies. You know, he was the dean and the provost of the school, and now he is the president, the 11th president of USC, holds the Robert Packer President's Chair and the Malcolm R. Curry Chair in Technology, the Humanities, and also chairs the USC Health System Board. He has been with USC since 1991 as a professor, director of National Research Centers, dean, provost, and now president. He's a member of several national academies, including the National Academy of Engineering, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the Academy of Athens, that Plato started way back then, and the National Academy of Inventors. Carnegie Corporation of New York has awarded Max a prestigious academic leadership award. Please welcome USC's 11th President, C.L. Max Nikias.
Good evening, everyone. A round of applause for our great dean here. A round of applause. Thank you, Yanis. He's doing a great job. I have to tell you that I have, as when my wife Nikki and I were coming to this event tonight, all of a sudden I had the recollection that I have very fond memories. I have very fond memories from this hotel. Because 14 years ago, it was 14 years ago, that Andrew Viterbi called my office when I was Dean of Engineering, and he didn't talk to me directly. He spoke to one of our assistants, where he requested that he would like to have breakfast with me at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, one Saturday morning in December. And that was the morning that Andy shared with me secretly. He wanted me to be the first one to know that he and his wife, Erna, had decided to name the engineering school with an endowment gift. And I don't have to tell you, I was shocked. And I said, Andy, you know that university protocol requires that as I leave this breakfast meeting, I have to call my provost and the president because you're a trustee. And he said, as far as I'm concerned, this meeting never took place. And I am the one to inform your president, but I wanted you to be the first one to know. And the rest is history, my fellow Trojans. So, thank you, Andy. Thank you to you and Erna. Like most engineers, when Andrew Viterbi begins working on a problem, he is obsessed with it. But always, always, family comes first. So it happened that the two most important things in his life merged in the spring of 1966. He and Erna, his late wife and lifelong inspiration, were sitting together at the synagogue for the Purim. A children's costume competition was underway. Their daughter Audrey was Queen Esther, and their son Alan was a king. Erna, a wonderful seamstress, had made their costumes by hand. At one point, Erna turned to Andy, who was drawing on a small piece of paper, and she nudged him. Their kids, she pointed out, had just won first place. He looked up, and he says, I have figured it out, and he said it softly and cheerfully. I have solved the problem. As we all know, the problem was how to eliminate interference or background noise in telecommunications. Yes. But when the now legendary Viterbi algorithm was published 50 years ago this spring, nobody could imagine a general application for it. Nobody except Andy. Pursuing solutions and overcoming obstacles are part of who he is. He came to the United States as a boy, his parents having fled Italy and the Nazis in 1938. Their escape was indeed narrow. Countless Jews across Europe soon disappeared, never to be seen again. There had been no way to warn people. Communications back then were so primitive that this boy grew up to be the man who revolutionized worldwide communications as his life's poetry. This is the American dream, my fellow Trojans, and dream inspired by the blessings of freedom. His story is not just about innovations in technology. It is about teamwork and vision and daring to be the best. From JPL to USC as a PhD student, to academia, to Linkabit, to Qualcomm, Andy's impact on communications is so powerful, so complete, that civilization itself has been transformed. Every satellite that orbits the Earth and every spacecraft that probes distant planets, every cell phone that connects us to the world at large, and every DNA sequence that is being analyzed, all operate using communication that is wireless and wondrous and without interference, thanks to Andy's elegant algorithm. In these very real ways, he brings the world together every second of every day. As you all know, Andy did his PhD at USC when the technology was at its infancy. It was he who helped bring it to maturity. As one of the key founders of the digital age, Andrew Viterbi can look back on his journey from a child of immigrant refugees to communications giant with great pride. Pride in America, pride in his Jewish heritage, pride in hard work, pride in imagination. His journey has been an inspiration for the rest of us. But there is something else about Andy. Like the algorithm we celebrate tonight, he has been able to break through life's noise to focus on the right things, whether it is his students, his friends, his business, or his family. Someone once said, "A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories they share about you." Here is one such story. Years ago, Andy co-founded Linkabit. The San Diego company thrived, expanding to hundreds of employees. One day, Andy was standing on the steps of a nearby stadium, and sitting next to him was one of his employees. The two struck up a conversation and talked for quite a while. Eventually, the man asked, "What do you do at Linkabit?" "Oh," Andy said quietly, "I work there too." This is the Andrew Viterbi we all know and we all love. Honest, self-effacing, humble. Andrew Viterbi is a towering figure of America's success story with an intellect that transcends borders. And he is a towering figure of humanity with a generosity of spirit that transcends time itself. We have put together a video in honor of this golden anniversary celebration. So let's take a look.
You can talk about starting in a given place and ending in a different place, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is what's in between, is how you got there.
The digital communications revolution is essentially synonymous with the Viterbi algorithm.
In 1967, he came up with this brilliant idea of how to create a way for processing digital signals.
The Viterbi algorithm was originally developed for decoding of what we call convolutional codes, which are a type of error correction code. They're used to protect information while it's in transit.
I think it's very important because it was really a turning point in the development of communication systems.
It's the best thing since sliced bread. We should celebrate it because of the impact that it's had throughout the world.
The algorithm was simply an offshoot of a more fundamental theoretical paper I was writing. Of course, we never dreamt that it would get into 1 billion cell phones.
It really was transforming us from the age of point-to-point communications with rudimentary radios to the age we live in today, where we're always connected no matter where we're at. So there's very few people that have had that level of impact.
You know, how do you explain to somebody that they're carrying a cell phone that there's this integrated circuit chip inside? It's meaningless to them. So in many ways, you know, the same way we say like Intel inside, there's Viterbi inside.
I find it hard to imagine research in bioinformatics without the Viterbi algorithm. Came along with the technology to do the sequencing, to estimate the production of genes and so on, and then it was essential to be able to analyze it.
So I've developed neurotechnology that aim to treat neurological disorders. Our brain consists of 86 billion neurons, and the activity of these neurons represents our emotions, thoughts, and actions. So if you develop sensors that can measure the electrical activity of these neurons, in a sense, we're getting a noisy signal that represents the underlying state of the brain. So that's the connection between the Viterbi algorithm and our work.
Voice recognition today is all around us, whether it's Siri or Google Voice, or you go home and Alexa, this digital agent, is sitting there. What underlies this, right? So we want to be able to transfuse the spoken signal into the words that underlie them, and that's where Viterbi algorithm comes in. In fact, the word Viterbi now is used as a verb. You know, to run a Viterbi means, you know, to decode the signal.
The Viterbi algorithm is important to JPL because it ensures success of not only sending information to the spacecraft, but getting it back in a correct manner, ensuring that we can determine the health and safety of all of our spacecraft, as well as looking at the amazing data that the spacecraft takes and sends back to us.
This success doesn't come from a flash of brilliance in 1967 that just occurs in your office. It comes from a combination of brilliance, drive, and persistence. And so Andy is that rare combination that was able to do that.
Andy has few peers. I consider myself a little sparrow flying around under the wings of this soaring eagle.
I think another very significant side of Andrew Viterbi is his family.
I was born in Bergamo, Italy. My parents had a very comfortable life there. My father was an ophthalmologist, and all of a sudden he lost his position and everything else as a result of the fascist government under Benito Mussolini, who revoked all civil rights from Jews. So we came to the United States. I was a refugee child. I met my future wife just as I was coming to California, and it was love at first sight.
My grandma and grandpa were definitely
the ultimate role models of love, and they also taught us how to work hard and to work hard towards our goals.
So we're celebrating 50 years of the Viterbi algorithm. The Viterbi algorithm is everywhere. The ability for everyone to communicate with almost anyone, anytime now, through cell phones, through the World Wide Web, is really the major enabler. It's changed, it's democratized the world, it's changed everything.
But the impact that he has will be one, I think, in history of bringing people together and making a smaller world for the benefit of humanity.
I think definitely Viterbi algorithm changed the world we're living today.
In transforming our lives, he taught us that we too can dream the American dream.
As I reached the twilight of my life, my greatest success was my family. That's my greatest success and my greatest satisfaction. I don't get excited about the fact that, yeah, every cell phone has this algorithm, which is just a tiny little bit.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Trojans, let's give a warm welcome to our great friend and mentor, a man whose name stands as the highest mark of excellence at the University of Southern California, a very valuable USC trustee, Dr. Andrew Viterbi.
Congratulations on the 50 years.
To say that I'm overwhelmed is an understatement. I never expected to have so many distinguished admirers as came out tonight, starting with Max Nikias and Dean Yanis Yortsis. I must say that it's very hard to remain humble under the circumstances. And to be completely frank, this was not my idea of a celebration. What I had in mind was to write a little paper, yet another paper. And I did so, and submitted it to an important journal, which immediately accepted it. I wonder why. It was the USC Viterbi Engineering magazine. But I was proud that I wrote the shortest paper that I'd ever written on the algorithm, and I expect it'll probably have the fewest number of readers. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Dean Yanis C. Yortsis.
Thank you so very much. We're now moving to the next and final part of our program, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce USC Viterbi alum and USC trustee Dan Epstein. Dan serves on the USC Board of Trustees, is a member of the USC Viterbi Board of Counselors. In 2002, he generously endowed the Daniel J. Epstein Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, one of the first in the nation to be so named. Several years later, he generously supported the renovation of the former engineering quad to what is now known as the Epstein Family Engineering Plaza. I should say here that originally it was known as the Archimedes Plaza, so I had really difficulty replacing a Greek name with Dan's name, but nonetheless I had to do that. The Engineering Management Award to be bestowed tonight has been named in his honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dan Epstein.
Andy, you're a tough act to follow, and I have every reason to be very humble, deservedly so. Thank you so much, Yanis. It's my pleasure to introduce this year's recipient of the Daniel J. Epstein Management Award, Harel Kodesh. As Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of GE Digital, Harel is responsible for driving the technical strategy behind Predix, GE's cloud platform. Before joining GE, he co-founded and served as CEO at Newrego, a spin-off of EMC Corp. He has also held top positions at Mozy, Amdocs, and Wingcast, a Ford Motor Company Qualcomm joint venture. He is a member of the USC Viterbi Board of Counselors since 2012. Harel also was nominated to General Electric's Corporate Executive Council in 2015. Some outstanding accomplishments, wouldn't you agree? Let's get to know a little more about Harel by giving your attention to the screens.
I was born in Israel, and I was fortunate enough to study at the Israeli Institute of Technology. The industry was just starting with microprocessors at the level that you can build PCs. It was a world of unexplored opportunities, and I fell in love with the idea that you can change everything through lines of code. I ended up in the US in late 80s. I started at Motorola, and I ended up at Microsoft, and then I moved around and I ended up at GE. So it's been an interesting journey.
Harel is a person that is able to see beyond what we ordinarily can see in our traditional way of thinking.
Software does influence everything we do. It allows you to think about the world in a different way.
He sees a very efficient frontier. He sees a world in which it's all about identifying an inefficiency and finding an opportunity to fix it, to improve it.
He's always had this infectious drive and energy and belief in what's possible.
When GE realized how things are going to be in the future, where we're going to have devices that compute and communicate and control pretty much everywhere, they decided to actually bring Harel to engineer this transformation.
This is sort of the ultimate challenge that he was given there, which is to, take this oil tanker and get it to do a hard left turn, which is no mean feat.
The first thing you do is you go all the way to the end, right? And you try to understand the end game. You break it down to the architecture, then you break it down to the human elements of how do you build a team that gets energized about that.
He brought that cultural change that basically said, we're going to be an organization that's transparent, that's going to empower the doers. It was a pretty 180-degree turn in what we were doing before and what we were doing after he came.
He invites people to come on the journey with him, infuses them with enthusiasm about what they can do if they go on this journey.
When you are in step 30 out of 4,000 steps, people look at that and say, oh, you're never going to get there. Well, you realize that when you step 100, people are saying, oh, this is not stopping. And you are simplifying the problem domain, over and over and over again. And before you know it, you turn the corner, and all of a sudden, you can see for miles.
Anyone who's worked with or met Harel is always struck by this enormous appetite and energy and drive, not only running marathons, but now wanting to run double marathons and other crazy things.
Just never-ending curiosity. It's like a kid in a candy shop, but, a little bit older and in the real world.
I've heard the word force of nature. He is that.
Engineering is, the solution changing every day. You never stop. You keep yourself in perpetual learning mode.
He really is the Energizer Bunny. Long after the rest of us will be stationary with our batteries flat, he'll still be drumming away.
Ladies and gentlemen, this year's recipient of the Daniel J. Epstein Engineering Management Award, Mr. Harel Kodesh.
Thank you so much.
Well deserved.
Thank you. President Nikias, Dean Yortsos, Dan, Professor Viterbi, I truly honored to accept this award. You know, I would like to propose an algorithm of my own to choose the next recipient of next year. So first you have to find an engineering manager, but that's actually the easy one. I would say there are three other components that you have to focus on. One is the team, and I can't be any prouder of the team that is working with me and building, GE next generation operating system for the industrial internet. Some of them are here. Most of them are not, but this is amazing to see men and women putting their differences away and coming together to build something incredible. The second thing is the mission, and our mission is by no means small. The idea is to connect all the devices that give us energy, power those, those monitors, going through our MRI images, wind turbines, transformation network, and everything that actually human society is depending on, and connecting it all to the internet and actually getting the most out of the old industrial electrical engineering domain combined with new software methodologies. And the third one is really, or the fourth one is really a sponsor. And I'm forever in debt for General Electric, for the GE company, to allow us to actually have the biggest play of our life. So thank you very much. It's really honored. Thank you very much. Thank you. I can take it. I'll take it.
To present the Mark Stevens Distinguished Alumni Award, it is now my pleasure to welcome last year's recipient, who along with his wife, Julie, are the benefactors and visionaries behind the Ming Family Engineering Social Entrepreneurship Challenge. You heard about it earlier this evening. Brian is a Navy veteran and a great friend and alumnus of USC Viterbi. He's a member of the USC Viterbi Board of Counselors, as well as USC Viterbi's ISC Epstein Department Advisory Board. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Min.
Thank you, Dean. It is my honor to introduce this year's Mark A. Stevens Distinguished Alumni Award winner, Stacey Harris. A 1981 alumna with a degree in my major, Industrial and Systems Engineering. She is the first African American woman to achieve the rank of Lieutenant General in the U.S. Air Force. Lieutenant General Harris has led a most remarkable life. With her persistence, commitment to service, fierce intellect, and love of country, she embodies all the best qualities of a Trojan. Fight on. Our USC family couldn't be more proud of her exemplary career and willingness to give back. I would now ask you to turn your attention to the screens in front of you for a short video about this year's recipient.
I was actually born, as it turns out, just a few blocks from SC. So, of course, I was drawn to the university. Military brat, father was in the Air Force, bounced all around. I wanted to grow up to be just like my dad. And so being able to learn more about the Air Force at Southern Cal really let me know in my heart that I had that propensity to serve. I had an ROTC scholarship for engineering. And that's how I became involved in engineering.
For a woman to graduate from particularly a discipline like electrical engineering, particularly an African-American woman, it was not very common.
After about the first year, my ROTC instructor said, "Have you ever thought about flying airplanes?" So now I was going to get an engineering degree and then go on active duty as a pilot. Before I went to pilot training, I met someone who said, hey, Stacy, you should go to a Tuskegee Airmen convention before you go to pilot training. And I was like, you can actually meet them? This is amazing. And so when I did, that's when you really realize this is much greater than myself. They worked hard to pave the way for someone who looks like me. From that moment on, I was dedicating my career to the Tuskegee Airmen.
I think that's what drives her history as well as the future. She's standing on the shoulders of individuals who've come before her. She knows there's many more barriers to be broken.
I was on active duty for 8 years and then in the Air Force Reserve for 26. I got a phone call from the then current Chief of Staff of the Air Force for me to come back on active duty, be promoted for a 3rd star, and assume another role. And I was just like, wow. Even though you didn't know this opportunity was going to come about, you have been preparing all your career for a role like this.
We're extremely proud of Stacy, the highest ranking African-American woman in the Air Force.
She is not only the first, but the way she carries herself, the way she represents being the first. This person, this Lieutenant General, this commercial airline pilot, this is what every young lady should aspire to be.
Every day I wake up in the morning and I see myself and I know who I am and I know what my mission is, and that's what I charge forward to do. The fact that I'm the first presents an opportunity for me and for me to bring up others through mentoring to be able to achieve the same goals.
What General Harris is able to do better than any other senior leader I've seen in the Air Force is put people together and help to forge the friendships that will allow their careers to go on.
You want everyone to be successful, and so that has always been my goal.
The core of her is not forgetting where she came from. She always wanted to bring those people and honor those people that supported her and got her to where she was. The Tuskegee Airmen, I've seen her next to them, proud, they pinned her.
When my father passed, they said, that's okay, baby, we're your daddies now, and they have been. And for my 3-star pinning, I still remember, I'm crouching down a little bit because they're just a little bit smaller than I am, to have a WASP on one side and a Tuskegee Airman on the other pin my 3rd stars, and it was my tribute to their legacy for paving the way.
It is now my pleasure, an honor and privilege to introduce this year's recipient of the Mark A. Stevens Award, Lieutenant General Stacy D. Harris.
Well, good evening, everyone. President Nikias, Dean Yortsos, Trustee Viterbi, I'm so deeply humbled and honored to be receiving this award from my Trojan Viterbi family. And what's so wonderful about this is that USC and the military have something in common, and that's family. And in the military, you join for a number of reasons, whether it's the propensity to serve, whether you had friends or family that are in the military, or it's just the events of the day that inspire you. What keeps you in the military is that sense of community and family and wanting to take care of each other. And that's what the military and USC have in common. Because I've always felt when you hear Trojan, the next word is family, all the time. So, for instance, my first job after I graduated from USC was not with the Air Force, it was actually with Hughes Aircraft. And that's because a Viterbi graduate interviewed and hired me to be an engineer, knowing that in 9 months I would be going into the Air Force. But he had enough faith and in me as an individual and knowing the quality of the education I had received at USC, that he says, you know what, I want to keep you employed for the next 9 months. You know, you're an engineering grad, you're a Viterbi grad, I'm going to hire you. And he did. So I knew very early on what it meant to have a Trojan family. And then Dean Yortsos, I just want to commend you again for your commitment to diversity and inclusion, because that just further increases our Trojan Viterbi family. So if I may just give a shout out to my dear friends that are here. Thank you for allowing me to host a party. I don't get to LA very often, and when I do, to be able to see so many of my friends just makes me so very happy. So for my Viterbi family, specifically Susan Toller, thank you so much. It was so wonderful having you as a role model and someone to look up to. Air Force Det 60, Lieutenant Colonel Nelson's here, who's the professor of aerospace studies. Thank you for the great work that you did, and I so enjoyed having lunch with the cadets today, and all those that have served or are continuing to serve in the military. Thank you for your service. Black Alumni Affairs, Michelle Turner, you are phenomenal. Thank you for just continuing, yes, continuing the work that you do to connect alumni academically through mentoring and then culturally through events throughout the year. Of course, my sorority sisters of Delta Sigma Theta. My airline partners that are here, Judy and Mario and Monica and Rich, thank you so much. Many that are members or actually have public service organizations or foundations. My Rotary family, Rotary Club of Los Angeles. Thank you so much. So just very briefly, when you're a pilot, you're sequestered behind a reinforced door, and you can't really engage with the passengers. And when you're a military person, you're sequestered behind a fence, and you can't really engage with the general public. But when I was invited to join Rotary, that enabled me to really become part of Los Angeles and perform service and just have a whole bunch of fun, so I thank you so much. And then lastly, of course, my heroes, the Tuskegee Airmen. Once again, I've dedicated my career to you. You have paved the way for so many of us, regardless of gender or race, to become the greatest nation that we are. And I just thank you so much for paving the way. Once again, thank you to my Trojan Viterbi family.
It is now my personal honor and privilege to introduce this year's Global Leadership in Engineering awardee, William Wang. An alumnus of USC with a degree in electrical engineering in 1986, William has led a most remarkable life and has charted an incredible professional path. William fell in love with American pop culture after moving from Taipei to Hawaii and then to Southern California when he was 14. And it was that move that began one of the more aspirational journeys you will ever see or hear about. In 2002, William launched Visio with a mission to make expensive plasma and LCD technology of high quality affordable to everyone. Just a few years later, millions of Americans owned Visio TVs, and by 2007, the company became a leading HTV brand. His professional success that followed is extraordinary. Please direct your attention to the screen.
I was born in Taiwan and came to US while I was 12 years old. Being an immigrant, it's kind of difficult for me to make a lot of friends. And so I became a pretty nerdy kid. And being typical nerdy kid, I love electronics. My parents encouraged me to become an engineer. Since I like electronics so much, might as well be electrical engineer. I came to USC.
William came in from a foreign country as an immigrant here. If you had asked him maybe 30 years ago which direction he was going to go, I don't think he would have been able to tell you.
I was 26 years old, And I started my own company, and the company became so big. I was office all over the world. I was making money.
William was fresh out of graduating, you know, he had these ideas, but he didn't have the people thing quite right yet.
I believed I was so successful that I could do everything. I could take on all the challenge myself. I lost total like $45 million in the period of 4 or 5 years.
At that time, there was so much weight on his shoulders.
I had to lay people off. I had to liquidate the assets. I learned the hard way, right? I paid a $45 million tuition to learn that I'm not good enough to do a lot of stuff.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Tonight. We begin with the latest on the SQ-006 crash.
On October 31st, 2000, I was on a business trip in Taiwan. There was typhoon and the captain took the wrong runway and the plane blew up. A lot of people lost their life. First thing came through my mind was, oh, this is it, it's over. I'm gonna die. The second thing came through my mind was, I miss my family. I really miss my family. The third thing came through my mind was, oh, how come all my headaches are over? I don't have any more headaches. Turn around my life.
He's a remarkable example of someone with the ability to reboot, the ability to think again.
He had this idea that we could make a flat panel television much less expensively than they were at that time.
This time around, when I started Vizio, I told myself that I want to build an enterprise. I want to build a company which made up many, many talented people who balance each other.
It was really refreshing and inspiring to see him so energized and so committed to this idea, this concept, and to start rallying all the right people to support it.
You gotta have faith in yourself, you gotta have faith in your dream, but also at the same time, you gotta have faith in people.
He's a magic maker. He's a visionary. He has the tenacity and the capacity to make something from nothing.
It's kind of interesting to see how life turns around and how things that you thought you would not be able to accomplish, you accomplish in a very different way, but with a tremendously equal success. And I think that's the type of person William is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage this year's Global Leadership in Engineering awardee, William Wang.
Well, thank you, Dean Yotus. First and foremost, I would like to thank my mom, who's here today. Mom. "35 years ago, she challenged me to take on the toughest major in one of the most prestigious universities in the world, USC Electrical Engineering School. That same year, my very first semester at USC, I received the first F in my life at Electrical Engineer 105. sorry, Anis, I didn't tell you that, but it will certainly not be the last F I ever got. It was a very sad and disappointing moment in my life. At that time, I didn't know how to cope with such a disaster. I was 18 years old. So over the years, however, I came to realize that getting an F doesn't necessarily mean you effed up. Rather, it means to fight on. At least that's what I told my mother. But seriously, people ask me all the time how to build a billion-dollar company. aside from having an amazing supportive family, who most of them are here today, and also amazing group of people, group of staff, I believe the secret is simply to not give up and fight on. This was the most valuable lessons I got from my first F in life at my electrical engineering 105. And from the countless Fs that followed, my GPA was 2.4. But throughout my entrepreneurial career, there were a lot of ups and downs. I earned many Fs on my balance sheets and income statements, but I fought on. I never once considered giving up. If there's one thing I want you to all take away from me today, it will be that F does not stand for failed. It stands for fight on. Today, thank you, Yanis, and the engineering school, President and Kias, to hand me this beautiful award. But I also want to thank you for giving me my first F in my life, which stands for fight on. I'm honored. 35 years ago, I could not even explain to my mom that her son, who she was working so hard to put through school, failed his first electrical engineering class. Let alone imagine that I'll be standing here now, speaking to you all, but I fought on. By the way, in case you want to know, it took me 3 attempts to pass EE 105. At today's tuition price, the 3 EE 105 will probably buy you 4 Vizio 80-inch 4K direct view LED smart TV with Google Cast, which is available at a near Costco around here or near you. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Please join me once more for a round of applause to all our awardees tonight. While it does not apply to the present company, people say that those who graduate with an A are the ones that will be hired. The ones who graduate with a B are the ones who will hire those who graduate with an A. And the ones who graduate with a C will be the donors to your university. But it does not apply to our present company. Definitely does not apply to Andy Viterbi. As we close this wonderful event, I wanted to, it will be a mistake if I don't remind you all that we are in a campaign still. This campaign is going on. About 6, 7 years ago, I said that if everybody in the room will contribute $1 million, then we will meet our goal. I'm in a very good position to tell you today that you only have to donate $250,000 because we are so much closer to our final goal. Be that as it may, I wanted to thank all of you for coming, and I wanted to make sure that I hope that you had an enjoyable evening. But before we close this event, we always something very special, which is the USC Marching Band, the biggest band in the world. I can't wait for football. Good night. Drive home safely. Thank you for coming.